This is the first episode of Maliciously Benevolent. Thank you so much for coming and showing up and sharing and just being here for us and sharing your story, because
Yeah,
it takes courage.
it does.
And it takes a lot of healing that you had to go through for you to be ready for this.
Yeah,
So I see you.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you. So, yeah, most recently, after receiving my pacemaker earlier this year, I struggled a lot with having something in my body that wasn't meant to be. So, a lot of roller coasters. When I would talk to people, I would tell them I'm literally living minute by minute. I don't know in 5 minutes. And that was because I felt so unreal. You know, I thought I was going to feel better, but I didn't. Things actually got worse. And just this past August, man, I was so excited for my kids to come home from the summer of them being with their dad. And they came home, and that night they came home, it just came down again. I started having a little bad chest pain, and I went to the bathroom, and I was bleeding really bad. I was like, there's no reason. I already had my cycle. Like, why am I having another cycle right now? And I was like, what could be going on? So I went in my room and I sat down and I just was like, okay, just take a breath, just see what's happening. And within minutes, excruciating pain started. Like if somebody were stabbing me multiple times in my stomach. And I was like, okay, so my ex is there and my kids are home and they're all excited and he's gonna leave in the morning. You know, he's got to get back home. I've got to play this off. Like, I can handle this real quick, you know? And within the hour, I knew I couldn't play it off and I knew something was severely wrong. So I called my ex and I told him, you're going to have to keep the kids. I'm going to have to go in and find out again what's wrong. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, what do you mean? You were just fine. And that's the thing about a lot of it. It's been like, you could be just fine at one moment and the next minute you're not. So quickly I went in and with joyous that time, because I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to get it done and we're going to, it's different situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just, who knows. And I went in to urgent care and they did a scan immediately after looking at just my history of everything. And they did a scan and they said, you have a 6-centimeter mass on your liver and a 3-centimeter mass on your pancreas. And not only that, we think you're having a heart attack right now. So we just need you to stay calm. The ambulance is on its way. from there, I just spent all this time in the hospital. So I was still trying to get my body back in strength. And they were needing to put in IVs immediately. And were not able to. At that time, they were needing to go into my neck. And that's what they did. Put it in my neck, my arm, and my arm. And then they told me they might even go. And so I just said to myself, like, what now? Like, why are we doing this again? So I went in the hospital. I picked a different hospital. I called my cardiologist because I had known that I needed a surgery, another heart procedure. I was supposed to have it like 2 weeks before that. So she told me to go to this hospital and we'll just go from there. You know, when people don't know what trauma is, it's scary. And I didn't know what kind of trauma this was. I didn't even know it was trauma until I was actually laying in the hospital bed because I had insomnia. I didn't sleep when I was in the hospital. And I was watching a show on medical trauma. And that's where I got that knowledge of medical trauma. And understood that I was dealing with that. Like severe medical trauma.
And you went in from one experience to the next, and it was, from what I'm hearing, and maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like you knew that there was something more, and the doctors were not able to find out.
Yeah.
And that was, and in a sense, it sounded like you had to sit with that for a period of time.
Yeah. And understanding that where we are in the medical field and practice and the ability to have insurance and be treated properly with the right care, that's what scared me, because I've been fighting for proper care my whole life. I've been fighting my whole life to just be taken care of like anybody else, We're Americans. I thought we were supposed to be here to take care of each other and protect each other. I've worked in a hospital for over 5 years, and I couldn't even get the medical help. Before pre-existing, I used to have to pay for my insurance and could not use it. So I knew that my care was jeopardized. Like it was going to be a battle. Like I needed to figure out what I was going to do to survive. First, I was like, okay, just let's see what they can do. And after the first week of staying in the hospital, from that day, I didn't leave the hospital. I was in there for a week. Testing upon testing, severe pain, medications, and they looked at me and they told me, we can't even treat you at this level, and what you need to go to a bigger hospital. You need to go downtown. So I just wasted a week. And come to find out, they knew they couldn't help me from the beginning. But they made sure to drain me for as much as they possibly could while I was there.
Mm.
So from that hospital, I had to discharge myself and go to another hospital where I could be treated.
It's the layers that we don't see
Oh,
or hear about.
yeah. Yeah, you don't you don't see the everything,
Mm.
you know. And I've shown more than sometimes I've even wanted to, because I want this to get out of. We have to talk about this.
Mm.
We cannot be keeping everything in the closet. We cannot be keeping this in the closet. These stories is what will change the situations that we're in.
Mm.
And if everybody's talking about it but not doing anything, what are we doing? I'm so tired of, like, I'm talking about me. I'm tired of talking about it.
And nothing happening.
And nothing happening.
That's why we're here. That's why we're talking about it here.
Yeah.
And that's, I feel that burning desire, passion, out of the struggle and the pain and the suffering that you went through. This is, I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
It's the intolerable and the injustice that we are finally going to speak up about it. Because, yeah, it's going to continue happening until somebody goes through and does the healing work enough to be able to sit here
And that's right.
and share. Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to go through that. And that was this. I was talking to my best friend on the phone, and I told her, I said, all those nights I was in the hospital or in the ER, and I sat there crying by myself. The struggles that I went through of days of sitting in the ER just waiting to get processed.
Mm.
People need to know the process that we're going through. I've worked since I was 14 years old on paper. I've worked. I've provided. I've created. I should be able to get proper health care. I've worked in the medical system, dental. I should be able to get the proper care. How do you work in the medical field and can't even get medical attention? How do you go to work and hope to get information about what you should do for yourself from your patients? Because I can't afford to go to the doctor.
Mm. That's a shame.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that is the world today, and that's just how backwards we are.
Yeah.
As a country.
Yeah. Let's take responsibility. We, as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yes. And honestly, just helping the people right next door to you. Why are we going to another country and helping other countries when our own country, our own people are asking and crying for help? Ooh, that gets me.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, because it's real. It's real life pain that we've had to endure. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but with that pain, I always try to find a way to find joy in that pain, to turn that around, to help somebody in that.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my way here and my doctors called me. So to add to the story, I spent almost another 2 weeks in the hospital. I still have the masses in my abdomen. I still have not had any treatment. I do not plan to have any treatment. I do not plan to go to any doctors. Why? Because I decided to take back control of my life. I was so stressed out dealing with my doctors. Having 10 different doctors telling you 10 different things with clashing information. Who do you trust? Them or your inner? My inner was screaming.
Mm.
So I decided to listen fully. I was listening because I've made a lot of changes. I've had to make a lot of changes.
Mm. According to what was told, right, said to
Yeah.
you by the doctors.
Yeah. And feeling. I was so ill, I couldn't get out of bed.
Mm. Wow.
Like, day after day, getting my kids up and getting them ready was, like, very, very, very hard for me. I lived across the street from the school. I drove them. I literally lived across the street from the school. And I had to drive my kids. But I'm so thankful. When you get to a peaceful place, I am so thankful I was able to do that. Something as small as that.
I hear you.
I was so thankful. A mother's love.
Yes. Will pull you through anything.
Anything. Anything.
It does. Even if you have nothing left, you think you have nothing left.
Yeah.
There's just that unconditional love that, yeah. I see where you're grateful.
Yeah.
You're grateful that you had the capacity and the energy to even take your kids
Yeah.
to school.
I'm proud of myself every day. That's how I've had to change. I've made myself proud of me
For the little things.
every day for anything.
Mm-hmm.
You went to the grocery store? Go, girl.
Mm-hmm.
I am my best friend. And I love it.
He learned.
I love it. Yeah. After I left the hospital, I watched some stories on terminal cancer and what people did. And I came across this gentleman, I don't even remember his name, but he said he was diagnosed with stage 4, I don't know, colon cancer. I'm not exactly sure what his name is. And they gave him his odds of living, which he didn't have. If he had the chemo, and his chances of living were like 98% that he was not going to make it with the chemo. And then he wouldn't be able to use the bathroom on his own or do anything. It wouldn't be a functional way of living. Or he could change his life completely and do it himself. He chose that route.
Do it himself.
He found a gym that was set up like a gladiator style. He removed all processed foods and meats, went completely vegan. He became an herbalist. And he began to love exercising. Because if you don't exercise, you're dying.
Well, it's like a car,
Yeah.
right? You leave it, you don't run it, it's gonna rust, and our body does the same.
Yes. There's this point in your 30s where you miss it, where you're like, I can still do this. And then it's like, oh no, I can't. I don't know exactly where that was for me. I think it was like 35, 34, somewhere like that, because I had 4 kids. Naturally.
Wow.
After that, it was like, okay, yeah, you're not no spring chicken no more, baby. You're going to need to take better care of yourself. But
4 kids.
yes.
Each child takes a lot of your nutrients.
Yes.
A lot, yeah. I mean, just to share, the magnitude of how much it takes from
to bear a baby. Can we talk about bearing children?
Yes.
So, I love being pregnant. I love being pregnant all 4 times. It wasn't easy all 4 times, but I loved it. The feeling of being a creator is amazing. Understanding that you're creating life is you have to be female to do that. You have to have these organs to do that.
That is so true. Yet it takes a lot from the organs, though, right?
Yeah.
And we don't realize that.
Proper usage, everything working, aligned. Recovery. Everything. Everything plays in with carrying a child. It's not just have some fun, let's have some fun, and there's a baby, let's there's a lot that plays into bearing a child. Proper mindset.
It changes your DNA.
Yeah.
Each child. That's why you have that connection to each child a little differently.
It's some magical stuff, like if you really think deep.
And dissect it that way, yes. And I think.
And understanding that no matter what process in the pregnancy you're in, there's an attachment. A bond.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bond.
Oh, yeah. Well, because your DNA changes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what creates that bond with each child. So whether you birth the child or not,
Right.
there's still that bond.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my bonds with each one of my kids. They are so different. So different. And I love it. I love seeing the different beams. I say, look at all the different beams of me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys are me. My kids are always like, oh. I said, look at you, Dawn. You're so outgoing, loving, inspiring. You're changing lives. Javante, you have motivation, skill. You're smart. Raquel, you're sassy. You're loving. You're kind. Ricky. My baby Ricky is something else. Those last ones are just kind of, oof. Ricky's my moon baby. I call her my moon baby. They're all special, but we have a special bond together that is a connection with the earth. And my other kids see it. They know. From the way she talks and everything. She's 5. But she's an old soul like her mother. I tell people all the time, anybody that knows me, I'm 39 years old. But I've been here way longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to some of my stories, you've been like, we had to have been. We had to. Yeah. I don't know if you have to be faced with death to kind of see the things that I see. Or, I don't know. I guess I would probably say, people who are faced with trauma, you see another vision of life. So it's just another vision of life, possibly.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's the trauma actually over time rewires your brain, and the chemistry and the way that you see life changes also. So the fact that you're able to experience that and be able to now voice it and vocalize it and put it into words, it took time for you to get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it very much does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So speaking of trauma, did trauma start way earlier in your life than the medical trauma?
Yeah. All different kinds of trauma. Now that I'm looking at it from this view.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the things, I guess I say a lot of the trauma that I went through, I carried with me for so long, it has damaged my insides.
Mm.
So my heart has taken a big hit from all of the trauma I've carried around with me for a long time. Because I didn't know what to do with it. You know, it's kind of like that bad burger you ate. You store it. You know, the fat, and just like, I don't know what to do with this. I'm
You
gonna
just
store it.
shove the heartburn away.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I don't feel anything. Next burger.
Yeah. Or I guess what we do here in America is we take a pill for it.
The Band-Aid.
Yeah, I took a lot of pills for it.
Mm.
When you are on depression medication at a young age, you have to really think about what that does to your brain in development. And looking back at all the different medications my doctors had me trying, you know, different experiences I went through, I tell my body all the time, thank you. Thank you for not giving out on me. Like, all of the things that I have put you through, I am sorry.
Yeah.
But when you don't know, you do the best you can. And I did the best I could.
That you knew how.
For
at
as
that
long
time.
as I,
Yeah.
yeah. I survived. I survived that. I survived the medication. I'm sure later, maybe in another episode, we will talk about when I took myself off of the medications and that experience.
Yeah.
Because when you take your health into your own hands, which I don't recommend, I'm not recommending you to go out and do this. You know, I'm not telling you to go out and do it. You know, this is just my experience. And when you get fed up and you need to take control, or you will not be here, I did what I did. I removed all those different drugs from my body. Prescriptions. My doctors did not like it. My doctors are so upset with me, they're blowing my phone up. That is the only person that is blowing my phone up, is my doctors. Because I'm not taking the medications. That are causing other problems. I loved when I say, you know, this drug is causing this. That's okay, here's another one. This one will help with that. So normally what I do is I give you this, and then because you'll have this side effect, then I give you this. And if you want to do your herbal tea, then that might help those other problems. Let's try that.
Wow.
How about we try no?
It's a cocktail.
Yeah.
Cocktail of drugs. Yeah. Have you ever seen that a post? I think they were saying either you create your cocktail, you eat your cocktail, or you take your pill of cocktail.
Yeah. Yeah. You want a quick fix?
Yeah, that's how we are functioning as a
Society.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't. I just wanted society. Like, I want us to understand that's how we function. Yeah.
Like, nope, it's not fast enough. Nope. Okay, next.
Popcorn. That's wait. Yeah. Instant. I want it now.
Instant gratification. I mean, that goes and ties in with social media and all that too.
Yeah.
Amazon has contributed to the instant gratification.
Yeah. You're right.
So what do we do about that pandemic?
Oh man, what do we do about the pandemic of like the internet?
Of just
social media?
the addiction
The addiction.
to instant because the brain is just firing off those happy chemicals so fast, so frequently, the body itself is not able to catch up to that. So a lot of people are probably malnutrition. So the, pandemic of mental health issues, and it all dominoes and ties into one another.
So I'm glad you said that, actually, because I was doing some research. Back in my earlier days, my teen days, I volunteered at suicide survivors. Growing up in a small town, I grew up in a small town, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We were one of the first black families in Sioux Falls. And this small town, the suicide rate is insane. It's really bad. I'm sure it has a lot to do with like the seasons, it's cold there a lot, so we have winter like 8-9 months out of the year.
Yeah.
You're stuck inside, with yourself thinking. And if you don't know what to do with those thoughts,
Yeah. Seasons do, environment makes a difference.
So I was listening to a study, and they were talking about in 1999, when social media began, is when the suicide rate really started to rise. And in 2017, the suicide rate in children went up by 50%.
50%.
I lost over 15 different friends and acquaintances growing up in high school, including my best friend. And at that time of losing my best friend, mind you, I just went to 5 other funerals previously. So as a child, in development stages of their life, that is crucial. Like and adding social media to this now today, we have to stand together. Everybody knows somebody that has been affected. And the numbers are growing.
Ooh.
The second leading cause of death in children the ages of 10 to 25, that's suicide. Next to guns, kids dying due to guns. So we've got a serious problem. And those are just the numbers in children. We see adults.
More. In every area, every sector of any work, any kind
Race,
of occupation.
gender,
Yes.
anything.
It's across the board.
Yeah, it's there. Something that can be treated with attention.
It can be prevented.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
With proper training.
Yes, proper training and skill and timing.
Patience.
Yeah. Listening. that's another that plays with the social media and stuff. Everybody's so into their phone that nobody's listening to each other anymore.
True. And they also don't know how to communicate anymore.
Yeah.
Vocally. They can type it, text it real well, be very eloquent when it comes to communicating and vocalizing it. That has become complacent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bringing awareness to this problem, I'm not an expert in it. I just know it's a problem. I'm watching a friend of mine that has recently lost her son to suicide in these past 2 weeks. And it hurts to see people in that pain. Especially when you feel that you've always had the gift of helping to prevent it. And I feel like that is part of one of my, it's part of my path. I've done it in the past, and I've told myself more recently, I need to get more involved. So that's what I'm doing. That's one of the main reasons why I did this interview. Because I told myself, it's time to get involved.
I'm smiling because I see you.
Yeah. Yeah. I was meant to be here for a reason. We all were. We had to find those reasons.
We were reminded with little nudges at first. And then we're like, no, I don't want to hear it. And then the universe goes,
okay.
I'm going to slam you with it.
That's it.
It's like, no, I don't want to remember. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Because this is really the reason why I wanted to create this podcast. Is because of that story. And I realized that I have the gift of being able to really truly get that story out. And connect people in ways that make things shift a lot. And so I think that's why we have similar gifts. And that's why we're sitting in front of each other. And our story is so, it's like,
it's aligned. Yeah.
It's like we went through the same thing. In different ways.
Similar.
Right?
Different but similar. And if you talk to somebody, you'd be amazed with how similar stories you have. I love going out and talking to people. Because I know there's something I can gain from that. And I know there's something I can give. And that's why I've lived my life these past couple of years. Not always.
It took, like I said, right? It took the universe saying...
all types of stuff. Divorce. Here, you're alone. Here's some pain.
You haven't remembered yet? Here's some more.
Yeah. It's getting some dropped in my lap. Dang.
It's
I
crazy
know.
how we're laughing about this, though.
I know.
It's the gratitude and being able to see truly,
I keep fighting. You just keep fighting. I look at my life as a flower. A precious gift that only lasts 7 days. So you better get to living. That's what I do. Thankfully, it's been like, okay, get down to my 7 days. I'm like, okay, I get to do it again. And then it starts over and I keep going.
Got that resiliency.
But when you've made up your own sense of time, like I have, and that's what the 25/8 means, if you see it next to my name. It's the time I made up. 24/7 is no longer. It's 25/8. Because I said so. Who has the right to tell you how to live in your own world? In peace. 25 hours is what I have. 8 days a week. That's my time. More time to love myself. I just need more time to love myself.
Amen.
And when you feel that, and you truly love yourself, and when you're truly thankful to have the opportunity to be here, and to be able to shed light for others, that is everything to me. That's what my brand is. I'm thrown off. I'm different. I'm unique. Making the ordinary look extraordinary. Extraordinary looking ordinary. So when you put on thrown off, you already know you're extraordinary. But we live in an ordinary, right? So go stand out. And that's what I do with everything. My earrings, everything. I'm a walking angel. And I know that. Everything I've created, it has a meaning. The scent of Alise. The scent of happiness. Everything you should create should bring joy to yourself and to others.
And honestly, it only matters that it brings you joy.
That is it.
As long as you're
That's what
super
the one
happy.
love is. You one love. One love is you. You are the first love. Everything else comes second. Third, whatever else. You can put in whatever order you want to.
Well, let's clarify for everyone what loving yourself really is and what that means, because people say self-love. Yes, I got myself that ring. I got that upgrade. I got that spa experience already. What is true self-love?
To me? Self-love to me is spending time with just me. Meditation. When I learned to ground, I felt like I learned the meaning of true love for myself, self-love. Because I connected this beam with the mother beam, which is Earth. And And that's when I really began to really dig deep and learn who I was, when I would sit there and dissect my life of what was really something, all those things I was hanging on to and carrying. I'd be sitting by a tree, and in my brain I'm throwing stuff out. Why are you hanging on to this? Why are you hanging on to that? Why are you still talking about this?
What does hanging on mean?
Hanging on to guilt.
Okay.
I held on to a lot of guilt about things I didn't do in the past, things I didn't say in the past. Standing up for myself a lot of the times. When you're raised in an all-white city, you have to learn when you can and cannot speak in certain places, environments, situations. So I would beat myself up a lot because I know who I am. I know who I have always been. And I had to constantly go against myself a lot. Sometimes that was for my safety. As a black woman, can I tell you a little bit about being a black woman? As a black woman, people don't know this, but I'm going to make it my mission for everybody to know. And a lot of people get mad when I tell them this, but it's just facts. It's the truth.
Okay.
A black woman is the most hated species on this planet. And that is a proven fact.